Today we will learn about directing, which is a very important role played by a manager. Directing is basically, as the name suggests, is basically giving instructions. Every manager is required to give work related and other instructions or guiding. You can say this is an action step wherein the person is engaged in giving instructions, guiding, motivating and leading the staff. So, directing is basically an action role. Now, there are some common characteristics of leading or directing. First, it is a pervasive function, means this is inseparable from any part of management. So, this has to be performed at all levels and in every department. So, it is a pervasive function, is all present. Secondly, it is a continuous act. Third very common feature is it is related with a human factor, because you are engaged in giving instructions or guiding or motivating. So, obviously, a human factor is linked to it. Then it is a creative act, because every person is different and handling the individuals efficiently is a creative act. Then fifth is it is an executive function, wherein you need to be you need to look at things from a matured angle, then only you can direct others effectively. And lastly, it is a delegation function, because you are dividing the responsibility among the subordinates. So, you are, this means delegating the authority and responsibility. So, these are the basic characteristics linked to the function of directing. You must be thinking that what are the major benefits of directing and why do we need to do this. So, the major benefits, the first is it initiates action, because things cannot be stopped on planning, you need to bring the things to action. So, directing is one of the biggest step in motivating or encouraging action. Second, it integrates efforts, because the work performed at different departments are somewhere down the line required to be integrated to achieve the organizational objectives. So, direction helps in this. Third is it is a means of motivation. Fourth, it provides stability. Next, it helps in coping with the changes, because with the change in environment, the way of direction and guiding and motivating the employees differs. Then last is efficient resource utilization. Efficient utilization of resources. As directing is basically asking the employees to come to action by with the available resources and the budget. So, this ensures efficient utilization of resources. So, these are majorly 6 benefits that one derive from effective direction. After this, let us move to the functions of directing. These are very much similar to those of functions of a manager, because basically before giving any kind of instruction, one needs to plan and decide on the objective and then direct accordingly. So, the very first step is planning. Planning can again be of 3 types: strategic, technical and operational, depending on the nature of business. Then second step is organizing. It means arranging for resources beforehand. Arranging for resources beforehand, because only if resources are available, then only you can ask the subordinates to efficiently use it. So, this function has to be done before directing. And third is leading. Means you cannot just simply provide the resource, you actually need to guide the employees in making the best use of available resources. So, it means controlling and supervising the actions. So, leading is controlling plus supervising. The fourth function is controlling. Once you are successfully leading the employees, you need to control, means establish some standards and compare performance. Because only when there are some existing standards, then only you can compare the performance of the employees and see whether it is going actually as per the standard or the desired performance. Now, these are the broad functions of direction. Further to these, there are some more functions linked with or which are embraced under direction. So, you can understand them as sub functions. These sub functions includes one, communication, because you cannot direct or instruct the employees without efficiently communicating with them. Communication is divided on several bases. A, on the basis of channel, which is formal communication, and informal communication. B, on the basis of direction, on the direction basis it can be upward, downward, horizontal or diagonal. C, on the basis of mode of communication, it can be verbal and non-verbal. Verbal can again be oral or written, and non-verbal is basically expressed through gesture. So, these are four types of communication functions that are performed under or as a sub-function of direction. Then you need to understand why communication is important for any organization. So, there are certain reasons to why communication, which is it helps in bringing role clarity, to bring role clarity among the employees, that which employee is to do which work. So, you need to communicate the same, means role clarity. Then is achieving coordination, and lastly improves efficiency. So, these are three benefits that you derive from communication. So, this is basically a sub function of directing, which again is an indispensable part of the managerial functions. Now, one more crucial relationship is between direction and supervision. There is always a supervisor who is majorly related to the one who is directing. So, you need to understand the role of a supervisor to get a clear understanding of direction. So, role of supervisor is to clarify the order. Second, ensure availability of resources. Guide the subordinates. And lastly, detect errors. So, these four are the major roles a supervisor has to perform. Then, to perform these roles effectively, there are some desired skills which you call as supervisor skills. These skills include: 1. Understand role and expectations. It is the basic skill that a supervisor must possess to understand the role of employees and what all they expect. Secondly, use available tools, means how he can use the available tools in making them understand and perform better. Then third is coaching for better performance. Fourth, helping the employees in developing skills. And lastly, building a cohesive team or a closely knit team. So, these are the skills that must be present in a supervisor to be called a good supervisor.